This week on The Chef's Cut, we're asking the serious questions like, is the Michelin Guide devaluing its own brand? They're just sending plaques to everybody, every single restaurant. It used to be very definitive that if you saw that red plaque, you knew that they had 1, 2, or 3 stars. Is it okay to wear a baseball hat and hoodie to a steakhouse?
It was just funny seeing like Ruth. I was like, Ruth Chris?
Right. Of all steakhouses to institute a dress code? And is the viral Wonton Lasagna worthy of the hype? Damn, this is good.
Is that good? Is it hit?
They got it right. If you're a fan of The Chef's Cut, please take a few seconds to rate and review the show wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps.
Big thing I read this week that a bunch of people have been sending me. I don't know if you saw this, but Ruth Chris, the steakhouse, you're familiar with them? I don't know if you've ever been to a Ruth Chris.
I've been to a Ruth Chris for sure.
In the news, battling it out with Chili's, which I'm sure you have been to.
Absolutely. Happy hour.
Over dress code.
Oh, I did see that.
On the bingo card of weird stuff was not on mine. Maybe it was on yours. That they were going to battle it out over dress codes on the internet. But it was an interesting thing because Ruth Chris basically came out and said, we're going to institute a dress code. And their dress code was like basically, they don't want people wearing hats in the dining room anymore, tank tops, hoodies, revealing clothing, or beach attire, I think was the other one.
Okay. Interesting choice of
things.
Okay.
Of things. So there's a lot of things about this.
Yeah, I'm like, who are you targeting with hoodies and hats?
Feels a way.
I feel some kind of way about that. Yeah.
So, and I think both of us coming from a fine dining background, right? And we both worked in fine dining when still the era of there was a bit of dress code. When I worked at 𝗬𝗫𝗄𝗃, a really big deal was right before I started there, they had removed the policy where you had to wear a jacket in the dining room. It used to be a place where they keep extra jackets in the coat room in case you showed up without a jacket so that you could still meet with your friends. But I think that's kind of gone by the wayside. That's why it's like the hoodie one's an interesting one. Because like a hoodie is not a hoodie is not a hoodie. You know what I mean? I saw a dude walk by me in a Moncler hoodie the other day. I'm like, that must be a $350. He was sitting at 𝗘𝗫𝗣𝗢𝗦. He was wearing a Moncler hoodie. I'm like, that's got to be a $350 hoodie, right? So there's expensive hoodies out there. But it's a weird thing, and it seems to mostly exist in steakhouses right now. And I think it's because a lot of the newer steakhouses, including my own, like a high-end steakhouse, there's almost like a quasi like club element to it a little bit. So it's celebration, right? People go out to party, people go out to do these things. So it's a weird mix of like, okay, how much is it? But it's still a high-end experience. It's a high ticket average. Going to a steakhouse costs as much as going to one Michelin star meal.
Yeah.
It's a tasting
menu. I've been to Boulevard. People are getting jiggy to get there. Like girls are in dresses and heels. Guys are in like, nice outfits. Also, like people get dressed up to go to a lot of steakhouses.
Dressed to go. And it's awesome. I love it. I think it's part of like the cool thing. I love when people get dressed up for a dinner. So then you have this weird circumstance like Ruth Chris coming out and saying, we're not going to allow you to do these things.
Right. And also, so this is my question. I just want to know, because you own a steakhouse and I go to steakhouses. Is Ruth Chris the kind of steakhouse that can institute a dress code? Like, I thought Ruth Chris was on the more like kind of casual end of steakhouses. I've been to a Ruth Chris, but I can't say I've ever gotten super dressed up to go to a Ruth Chris. It's like, fine. Jeans and a nice top, but am I putting on heels and a dress? No. It's kind of like the Chili's of steakhouses.
It's like a Longhorn that's just in the city. You know what I mean? Like it's not. But like, as much as like I think it's like people trying to maintain a level of elegance, right? I think Ruth Chris trying to do that is beyond ludicrous. But
it used to be. I remember no shirt, no shoes, no service. That was what was on the window of McDonald's, of Burger King, of
and I think that's reasonable.
Right. And that's fast food. And for certain restaurants like Le Bernardin also had a jacket policy. You couldn't eat in the dining room without a jacket. And just like 𝗬𝗫𝗄𝗃, they had that closet with different sizes. So a gentleman could get a jacket if he didn't come with one. And then you could wear jeans as long as they were crisp and dark jeans, because then it still looks a little dressier.
What about hats?
Hats, no, nobody could wear hats.
All right. So let me ask you this then. Can, what do you think? Like, do you think people should be allowed to wear hat and a hoodie in a steakhouse? High-end steakhouse.
I do think it depends on how it looks. I think I can wear a hoodie that is like, this is I'm going for a walk after working out at the gym kind of hoodie. And then there's like, I have a nice travel hoodie, that's like, you can have on a cashmere hoodie that looks very crisp and looks really nice and looks kind of elegant. So I don't think people need to be policing the types of clothing by item. I think they need to look at how somebody is dressed. Just say we have a dress code that we enforce. You don't have to put the items on there. Like, that's all. Like, just say you have to be dressed nicely.
Right. And it's weirdly like, just because there's kind of a more party atmosphere to these steakhouses where it seems to come up much, much more than any other restaurants.
Yeah.
But it was just funny seeing like Ruth. I was like, Ruth Chris?
Right. Of all steakhouses to institute a dress code?
It was like somebody commented and said, why don't you work on not having a shitty ass name for a steakhouse instead of this? And I was like, I love the internet. But, then Chili's just tweeted up something like, yeah, like, just come as you are. It's Chili's. It's whatever.
Right. Chili said, as long as you are dressed, that is our only dress code.
The best. Like,
so they kind of took it back to the no shirt, no shoes, no service thing.
Right. They're like, you got a shirt on, you come to Chili's.
Exactly. People dress more casually now than they used to in general. And yes, if you want to have a really nice steakhouse, have it really beautifully decorated, because then you feel like this is the kind of place I dress up to. Boulevard, you've got that beautiful staircase, that massive chandelier. It evokes the feeling of, I want to get dressed up to come here. Ruth's Chris, I'm like, I got flip-flops. I just left the beach. Ruth's Chris is the kind of steakhouse I'm going to after the beach. I'm not going to Boulevard. I'm here for Ruth's Chris having a fucking seat on this.
There's not a lot of times you'll hear me say this, 𝗬𝗫𝗣𝗏, but I'm Team Chili's on this one.
Joe, I have a special surprise today.
I love a surprise.
Okay, so we have not done Fork It or Forget It in a while, right?
It's been a while.
It has been a while. And I kind of have a soft spot for these viral recipes that I see online. And once in a while, they really pique my interest because they really look so damn good.
What got you this time?
Okay, so I have a little show and tell. Are you ready?
Is it another baklava?
Oh, God, no. I made the Wonton Lasagna.
Oh, I've seen this one. This is the one where you layer all the wonton wrappers, yes! And then like the pork and like the, yeah. I have seen this one.
Oh, it's like everything you want, right? It's like a dumpling, but a bigger portion.
It reminds me like those bakes like you'd have like, like growing up, or like you'd get them at like a cafeteria in high school. They'd be like, oh, this is the Mexican enchilada bake. And it wasn't really an enchilada. And it wasn't really Mexican, but it was like ground beef and a bunch of things like baked together. But it was like awesome. And it kind of had like lasagna crust to it.
Oh, damn, this is good.
Is that good? Is it hit?
They got it right.
Is it? Okay, here's my question though. Is there a crispiness to it?
Mm-mm.
Because I like it. I do enjoy a crispy dumpling.
There is no crispiness to it because it is steamed. So the top layer of wonton dough gets nice and supple and soft. The only texture in this is coming from the chili crisp that I put on top. And it is delightful.
Should we talk about how insane it is that you bake that in a ramekin instead of a Pyrex?
I mean, the recipe I saw had little individual ramekins. It was beautiful.
Little individual ramekins?
Yeah.
I've seen it like a Pyrex. Like it's supposed to be like a lasagna, right?
I think
Who's making individual lasagnas and tiny ramekins?
Look, the recipe I saw that had over 1,000 5-star reviews, they were baked in ramekins. So I baked it in a ramekin. And I also don't have a Pyrex here, so.
That's crazy.
C'est la vie. So here I am with my ramekin, and I made one for Steven too, so he can have his later. But this is freaking delicious.
It does.
Oh my God. Can we take a break and I eat this?
Yeah. Send me one of those. All right, so I'm forking that. I'm with you on that. I would have baked it in a Pyrex because I'm a reasonable human. That's the only part you went astray on this.
This is so good though. Holy shit.
All right, I'll give it a fork it. So that's a fork it for you?
Yeah, the internet won.
So I think we got to get back into something that we talked about recently, because it feels like they almost heard the conversation.
Oh,
maybe it was all the tags.
I think I know who you're talking about.
But your good buddies in France, your favorite tire company, Michelin, has seemed to have changed the playbook a little bit lately.
Yeah, what are they up to?
Where, from like inspector profiles almost on the, like I've seen on their social media, to try to add transparency to the thing where it was like the food of, what do they call it? Food of the American South?
Yeah, they had.
Is that what that post
dishes
was?
Dishes we love of the American South. There's Southern cuisine dishes that we love at Michelin. It was just like, what? But the thing that I found crazy also, so a restaurant has a Michelin star because they get that red plaque.
Yeah, with the 1 star on it.
Or 2 or 3.
Yeah, it used to be shaped like a star.
Yeah, it's the Michelin has the like bubble 6-point star.
Yeah.
With rounded edges. And then they went to the red square plaque.
Yeah.
And it had the star. It had Michelin Guide. It had the name of the restaurant. But above Michelin Guide, there's a blank red space. It had the number of stars that restaurant had. Now, Michelin is creating the Michelin Guide or recommended restaurants that don't have stars, no bib gourmand, but they're sending out plaques to all these restaurants.
Right. I don't understand, because it's not bib gourmand. It's recommended.
It's recommended, but that's just like we have a dining guide to, to Denver, Colorado. So here's a bunch of restaurants we ate at there. Here's the ones with Michelin stars. And they're just sending plaques to everybody. Every single restaurant. It used to be very definitive that if you saw that red plaque, you knew that they had 1, 2, or 3 stars.
Well, and that was also, it was a really big day. It was a really big day, like when that star showed up every year. You know what I mean? That was like a cool thing. It would show up in the mail, and we'd always, like take a picture with it and like be like, oh, we got our stars, But yeah, so then they started sending out these the recommended plaques, which I don't, it's all their transparency stuff. Like, I felt like they just sent them.
I think so too.
Like we got one at Rosemary. They sent me one.
Oh, did you put your plaque up?
I did not.
Why not?
Well, my chef texted me. She was like, what's this about? And I said, I don't really know.
Oh my gosh. So you didn't put the plaque up?
No, I don't know where to put it. But we have it. But I also it feels weird to put it up. It's like, oh, so you guys have a star? It's like, no. It's like, oh, but they give you a plaque. It's like, yes. They're like, so what does that mean? It's like, that means they like us, but they don't like us. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, they're flirting.
It's almost like, what
like
it
they're
reminds
flirting,
me of?
but they're not interested. I'm not sure. I'm very confused. This is, you know what I mean? Like the most Facebook poke of plaques, it's very confusing.
But you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of participation trophies. But you have to be good to get it, but it's still we're not giving you a star, but we'll say that we ate here and we liked it. So it's kind of like the participation trophies of the Michelin world in a way.
And it's weird that they didn't give us the restaurants clarity on this.
Ah, okay.
They weren't like, hey, this is a new thing we're doing. You're being included in this as a Michelin recommended restaurant. It was just a plaque showed up. And also mine was said Northeast, which I was like, Northeast of what?
Is that how Michelin defines the regions?
We're northeast of Omaha.
Of the Mississippi River?
Yeah, northeast of St. Louis.
So to me, it shows how little they know about American cuisine. It shows how little they know about America.
What do you mean? They love food of the American South.
Right. I mean, to me, it's so disingenuous. It really seems like Michelin is it's just a marketing play. They're really just trying to gain more visibility among American diners because they're a European company. And people look at them and say, oh, they only recognize European cuisine in America. And they're trying to say, oh, we love Southern cuisine. We have the biscuits here. We have the fried chicken here. We have this Caribbean cuisine. Ooh, look, we ate jerk. And it's
we love
but
okra.
but they don't get it. They don't get it. They don't get America even enough to recognize Chicago is in the Midwest. If they're calling it Northeast, like, what did they just break the country up into 4 quadrants?
This is the thing that drives me nuts with them. And I know there's lots of things, and we've talked about it at length of all the things that they do that drive us nuts. But it's like, just tell us what the fuck's going on.
Right.
Like, why? Like, listen, it's really nice for the team to get recognized any way, shape, or form. My team works their ass off. That squad over there is so good. You know, what Christine's doing over there, we're almost 5 years in, and I think the place has genuinely never been better. It just keeps getting better, because of the people that are there every day and how hard they work and how passionate they are about making it better. And so anything that recognizes their hard work on a national or international level, that's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. It's great for the team. It's great for us. But if like genuinely, when you ask me, you're like, well, what does that mean? It's like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that to my chefs. I feel like when my little kids ask me something that's too complicated, I'm like, I don't know how that shit works. You know what I mean? Well, why does that satellite work? It's like, who knows? Ask somebody who's a satellite scientist. Like, I'm not them.
This is going to sound weird, but I'm going to their website right now, and I'm going to try to see if they even can answer that question, because it seems like they don't have any clear direction about what they're doing. I feel like Michelin has gotten out a little over their skis in the US market. They don't really understand the diversity. They don't really understand the regional cuisine. They're kind of just going off of stereotypes and lumping things in together.
The French should know better. This is Napoleon in Russia. You know what I mean? He just didn't realize how big it was. It's like, they should know better. And I think it's like weird. It's like, I don't know who the head of Michelin is. I don't know anyone who works for Michelin in Chicago, because it's all cloak and dagger, secret society type shit. So it's like, there's not anyone to ask.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not like where it's like James Beard, who works at the foundation. You know what I mean? You can get a hold of people if you chose to, I would imagine. I don't know. I've never tried, but I would assume if I wanted to talk to someone, maybe someone would talk to me. At least I could find their name. But that's the weird thing. It's like, I don't even know where to begin to be like, oh, hey, I'll just go to the Michelin office downtown, next to the DMV, and wait in line with my plaque and be like, hey, I got this plaque in the mail. What does this mean? Well,
okay. I will tell you what it says here. Can I tell you what I found? Okay.
Tell me.
So Michelin Selected is what they're calling it. And it says it's often associated with the Michelin plate, or simply suggested or selected by the Michelin guides. And these are accolades that are awarded to restaurants that offer good food, quality ingredients, and skilled cooking, but do not meet the strict criteria for a star or a bib gourmand. So it's a good meal considered worth visiting, often offering a more accessible dining experience than starred restaurants. So it is distinctly different from bib gourmand, stars. And it says here they are introducing this to recognize more establishments with quality food, shifting from the previous Michelin icon to just being a selected restaurant.
It feels like they could have just adjusted the bib gourmand for inflation.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it seems like this is. It's like, it's a little bit too expensive to be a bib gourmand, but you're a bib gourmand.
Right. And it's like, if you have a very strict criteria for what is a bib gourmand, a 1, 2, 3 star, you're really just trying to get more people to buy your guides. You're just trying to get more clicks on your website so you can get more ad revenue. That's all you're doing here, is you're trying to increase visibility among a market that doesn't like you. Americans largely are like, oh, we need Europeans to come in and tell us what food is good.
Man, that's from our last conversation about it. That's sure as hell how it feels like. Is everybody was like, we don't need them to tell us shit. And I was like,
right.
So yeah, that's the strange thing. So that's completely what it feels like, right? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, hey, we're just saying this is a really good restaurant in this city, but we don't want to give it one of our buckets. So we're trying to find another bucket to throw places where it's we don't care about being good for them, but we think they're good for us as a brand. Because that's what it feels like to me. You know what I mean? It's they're saying we think rosemary is good for Michelin visibility and for the Michelin brand, but we don't think we owe rosemary anything. we don't think they're good enough that we're going to like actually give them a Michelin star, or, you know what I mean, are reasonable enough that we're going to give them a bib gourmand. But we really like the idea of, you know, our name next to theirs, but we're not,
right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, well, then yeah, I'm not hanging your fucking plaque on the wall.
And it's interesting that the places that I've seen, they're sending these plaques out to places that do amazing food that to me should at least have a bib gourmand adjusted for inflation, because you're right, it's hard to be super affordable. You can't pin a certain dollar amount with today's inflation. They need to adjust that according to the market. You can't just say, here are the parameters for bib gourmand on a pure dollar basis if you're not adjusting for economics around the world and how much things cost. So they're sending them to restaurants that do amazing food, like Elmina in DC, Have and Mar here in New York, Rosemary in Chicago. They're sending them to all these restaurants that also attract a certain type of diner. People who know food, people who want to experience food, people who go out to eat and know kind of what Michelin is, but maybe aren't beholden to saying, I only go to Michelin restaurants, or they don't use that as their like clout. Like, oh, I went to all these Michelin restaurants. I just know good food and I go to where good chefs are creating delicious food. And that's the target audience.
I think the validity of the places they picked, and I'm not just saying this from a self-serving standpoint, it's like the other people who I saw seem to get them in Chicago were all places I really like.
Yeah.
We're all restaurants that are really good.
Right.
But to me, I was like, no, fuck it. If you think they're that good, get off this tasting menu bullshit and give them a star. Give them a star. They're star good.
Right. And that's what Michelin, that's the disconnect to me between Michelin's strict criteria, as they say, our strict criteria of what meets it, and good food. So in the US, good food does not have to be in a multi-course tasting menu. A lot of American diners don't necessarily want that on a regular basis. And you can do excellent food with incredible technique and really cool flavors and an interesting POV without doing a tasting menu. But Michelin's criteria is set for a country where that is revered and where that is the standard. And they're applying their lens of what they think food should be and the format in which it should be served to a market that has a different set of values.
Right. Because it's just like, you know, I think there's lots of conversations now about like, is the tasting menu dead and whatever and that. And I feel like that conversation circulates every few years, right? And I don't think it is, and I think it still holds place. I just think it's harder and harder for that business model to work because it's hard to get a lot of people to do tasting menus every night. I think like on a weekend, you know, a special occasion, like it becomes that. But I think like to get, you know, especially at like the 1 Michelin star level, where it's like the 3, I feel like the 3 is like people are traveling from all around the world to go eat there, right? And you could be busy all the time, but like at the 1 star level where it's like you're a very expensive restaurant, and like that Tuesday in January, finding, you know, 100 or 200 people willing to do that on a Tuesday, I think is really, really difficult. And I don't think it's because it's a bad restaurant or tasting menus are dead. I just think it's because of the approachability of it, of like, it's hard to get a lot of people to spend a lot of money on a Tuesday night. I think New York, you know what I mean, is kind of an outlier in that, just because there's such more of a denser population and there's so much more wealth in New York than any other city in, you know, the United States. So like you see super busy 1 Michelin star restaurants in New York because it feels approachable for Manhattan, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's not approachable for a lot of cities. So I think like that's where like their skew is wrong too.
So many things about the way they're doing this is wrong. And I really feel like the recommended plaques, while I agree that they have selected excellent restaurants, I don't agree with them sending out plaques, because if you're Michelin and you do stars and you do bib gourmand, that is what you do. Stay in your lane. Now you're just trying to become a dining guide. You want ad revenue, you want clicks, you want more customer dollars for the services that you offer. And you're trying to become a voice in a country that you've only entered since the 2000s.
And it feels like one of those, you know, the old saying in restaurants where they're like, if you try to be everything to everybody, you're going to be nothing to anyone, right?
And that's what Michelin
it feels like. It feels like it just deludes the brand.
Yep. Steven and I were at a restaurant in Miami, and they had their recommended plaque up, you know, above the pass of the open kitchen. And the table sitting next to us said, "Oh, look, they have a Michelin star." And I was like, I didn't say it out loud, but I'm like, they absolutely do not.
I was like, that would be like the most like unhinged like behavior. And I would love it so much if you got up and you were like, actually, they don't. And
Right.
just like, but it's like, okay, it's like also like, that would be insane to be like, what, why are you doing? Like, why are you doing this, lady? Because I'm also
not hating on this restaurant because it was a very good restaurant.
Right.
But the
and you were like, this could have a Michelin star. Maybe it should.
It totally could. It totally could have a Michelin star.
But you're like, the context is wrong.
Yes,
like that these people have it. And it's
they're
like,
so excited that they're like, oh man, this is a Michelin starred restaurant. And I'm like, should I tell them? No, because then I'm hating on the restaurant. Like it just felt weird to also butt in on another couple's conversation.
I think you should have said something, Paige. I think
so too, because it's
this opportunity on your part to clarify for the general public. Just walked over and said, Chef Adrienne Cheatham from the Chef's Cut Pod. Let me get in here real quick. Pulled up a chair.
It's like, blow the referee whistle, and I just appear and like tell
Steven's
people.
Steven's like, I'll take the check. I'm actually leaving.
Right. We're actually leaving right now. But that's, I mean, going back to the conversation about dress code. So how Michelin, a lot of restaurants were jacket required and then started to relax that because society relaxed how we dress. People now dress a lot more casually than they used to dress for work, for going out, for everything. So the culture has shifted in terms of what we like, what we eat, what we find important, especially after COVID. Things changed tremendously. And Michelin is like 3 steps behind at every turn, trying to keep up with the way things actually are here. Because to me, it doesn't seem like they truly understand American cuisine, the regions, the diversity, the way
they had biscuits. They understand it.
No recommended though. They had no recommended biscuit.
That's crazy.
They even had a post that they did about Caribbean restaurants and the value. I was like, ooh, did somebody share our post with them or share our episode of it where we asked if they were racist or cuisinist? And seems like somebody got the message because they are.
So Michelin, if you are listening, and anyone over there, you want to come on.
Oh, we would love it.
You want to come chop it up with us, please hit the hotline. Mm-hmm. Hit the hotline. Hit the Chef's Cut DMs and say, hey, we'll block out your face. We'll give you the worst thing like hours of the mob. And...
Oh yeah, we'll even go in studio together, Joe.
Dude, I'll sign an NDA. I've signed plenty of NDAs I haven't read.
Totally.
So let's go. Let's go. Everybody out there, Chef's Cut Pod, putting you all on there. Find your local Michelin person. Find them out. Get them on the pod. Let's get our questions answered.
Yep.
It's a goal for 2026.
We got to get to the bottom of this.
We're going to storm the Michelin headquarters in France.
Oh, this Michelin conversation's got some legs. I can honestly say I'm still pissed off about so many things about it. So I really feel like this conversation will keep coming up.
Feels like it will. I mean, people are still commenting on the last conversation. It's like, you know, it's still like that one went hot, and you think it's so niche because of like our industry and what Michelin is, and you know what I mean. And not, you know, it's still being new to the U.S. and new to so many markets here, and they keep expanding and going different places. And you know, now they're going to do Southwest, and it's like they can't possibly have the bandwidth. They would have to have so many inspectors.
The James Beard Awards gets American cuisine. That needs to be recognized to me above Michelin, because Michelin came from the outside. The whole point is that is a way to recognize excellence. Are you making excellent food? Period. Then you can win an award.
And like
now, Michelin saying
that's what it should
you got to do this and this
like,
and this
and
this.
Are you making excellent food?
Right.
But I think with all things across all ports, it's like there's a level of food, and it's like that should be it.
Yeah.
That should be it. Like that's what it's supposed to be, according to everyone's bullshit that they put out there. It's like it's about the food. It's about the food. Like blah 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 blah. It's like all right, then like be about it.
I think Michelin needs to stay in their lane. 1, 2, 3 stars. Bib Gourmand. adjusted for inflation, leave the rest alone. Leave America to the Americans. Leave American cuisine to the Americans who know American cuisine.
Who knew Adrienne was going to get so patriotic today?
I know, right?
I will like drape my now, brother.
Screaming eagle flying overhead.
See, I think we should like maybe just go the opposite route. You know what I mean? We should start talking to like Goodyear or like Firestone and be like, let's get a new thing going here. Like, you know what I mean? Let's, some homegrown talent. We're gonna.
Yeah, can we get the Ford dining guide? The Ford Motors?
We go tire company for tire company. Or get one of those Japanese tire brands, except it would be like no one would have 3 stars.
Yeah. Everybody gets like a half
There'd be
star.
one restaurant in the world with 1 star. That'd be it.
Oh, Joe, this is a blast. Oh man. This is fun. I'm actually gonna finish my wonton lasagna though after we finish. Speaking of excellent food.
That's a 1-star lasagna right there.
All right, that is it for this episode of The Chef's Cut. Be sure to subscribe wherever you're listening, especially if you're watching us on YouTube, where you can find full-length videos of every episode. And be sure to follow us on IG at The Chef's Cut Pod. For Joe Flam, I'm Adrienne 𝗘𝗫𝗣𝗢, and this has been The Chef's Cut. Life beyond the past.